Good afternoon. SciCon 2026. What's up, everyone? My name is John Borden, Johnny B, founder of Get Psyched Fitness, author of Your Mindset is Your Reality. And I'm standing up here today because I ran 100 miles. And I ate an eighth of mushrooms while I did it. But that's not the full story. The full story is about how somebody who was living a completely worthless life turned himself into someone who was even willing to toe that starting line that day. I want to take you guys back to just 3.5 years ago, before any of this was even a glimmer in my eye. At that time, I was binge drinking like crazy, going through an ounce of coke at a time, indulged in any cheap pleasure you could think of, gambling with cheap women. Life was just without purpose. But then, October 8th of 2022, again, just 3.5 years ago, I tried mushrooms for the first time in adulthood. And life has never been the same again. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff that happened within that time. There was a lot of deep thinking. There was a lot of introspection. There was a lot of asking myself what I actually wanted out of life. But 3 weeks after I tried mushrooms for the first time, I did my last line of cocaine. I gave up binge drinking. I started making my bed, flossing my teeth, finding any way to be 1% better each day. And that's all I was focused on, is just how can I get myself out of this terrible situation I'm in and be just a little bit better. I'd find wins on a daily basis. They would compound and compound and compound until a year after I found mushrooms, when I went on my first run in over a decade, completed my first race. 9 months after that, my first ultra. A year after that, the 100 miler. All along the way, life had many other gifts to share too. I started Get Psyched Fitness. I found my beautiful wife. I wrote a book, Your Mindset is Your Reality, an audiobook. You can check it out on Amazon. And the big question, obviously, is, so what role did psychedelics play in all this? And there's a number of different things. First and foremost, we all know what they can do for trauma. And I'm a poster child for that. Being able to look at myself and understand my actions was incredible. It gave me a sense of purpose. It gave me something I want to strive for. It gave every day new meaning. But then in addition to that, what they do from an athletic standpoint is something that has been really special. Now, who here is familiar with the mind-muscle connection? Okay, bunch of hands. Cool, excellent. For those of you not familiar, the mind-muscle connection is essentially how well you can contract your muscles, dictating using your mind. Thank you. All right, so I want everybody here to just go through a little bit experiment. Go ahead and make a muscle, contract your bicep. All right, see if you can dig into exactly where you feel that contraction. Pinpoint it exactly on the bicep. And I see some of you already doing it. Close your eyes. You can feel that a little bit stronger, right? Once we remove the inputs, it allows us to focus in on where we feel that. Has anyone here ever worked out on psychedelics? Yeah, cool. So we know the feeling of this, and we know how to feel all the muscles in your body with intense accuracy, right? Now that's one of the benefits of psychedelics, is the proprioception, understanding the way your body's moving, understanding the way my foot's falling when I'm running, the way that I'm breathing. I'm able to maintain my body and regulate myself in real time in a way that I don't feel I have the same ability to without the psychedelics. The other aspect of that is that it gives you a lot of time to think, a lot of time to integrate, and a lot of time to find out where you can be better. And so I really just wanted to share a few different lessons that I learned along the way. The first is, your mindset is your reality. And, other than being a plug, is true. Anything that we do starts with belief. Running 100 miles, writing a book, starting a company, it all starts with the belief that you can. and that allows you to take that first step. The first race I ever did was a half marathon Spartan Beast. And up until that race, in December of 23, I had not run in over 12 years. But I knew this was something that people out there were doing, and so I asked myself, why not? I showed up on race day, ready to grit through whatever it was. And as I passed the 7-mile mark, which is then my PR for distance at the time, I found myself really struggling. But a mantra came to me that stuck with me for the rest of the race. I just kept repeating to myself, I'm a fucking machine, I'm a fucking machine, I'm a fucking machine. And eventually those struggles turned into joy and happiness. And as I'm passing the people that were passing me earlier in the race, I found a next level, something I could tap into. I ended up finishing in the top 5% of that race, and it completely changed what I thought myself to be capable of. The next year, I get more into competitions. I do my first triathlon, and then a few months after that, I get an ask on a Tuesday to do a race on Saturday. And that's when I learned lesson number 2, is that it's impossible to do anything noteworthy alone. And there's a couple different aspects to this, and the first I want to point out is impact on others, right? We only matter in what we do and how it pertains to other people. And that's the only reason I'm standing up here, is because people have found it inspirational enough that I've been able to do what I've been able to do with the help of psychedelics. But it doesn't matter that I've been able to do it. It matters that other people find it inspirational to put on the running shoes, or to work out, or to, start that company, or to write, or to go ask the girl out, whatever it is, right? It's allowed people to think bigger than themselves, and that's what I want us all to do. And as I'm saying that, I'm sure there's been something that's come to you that popped into your mind that said, man, that's something that seems way above and beyond what I think I'm capable of, but fuck, it would be fun to try. Anyone have something they want to share? Hit it.
DJing at EDC.
Okay, so DJing at EDC, right? There's got to be something that's bigger than you for that to matter. And that's what I want us all to take away from this in the end, is what is that thing that's bigger than you? It might not have come to you right now, but my hope is that by the end of today, maybe tomorrow, maybe even next week, when you're sitting at home thinking, or you're on a little mushroom trip of your own, you can think and say, man, what's that one thing that if I put myself out of my comfort zone, if I try really hard, if I dedicate myself to, that I can achieve, and that's going to blow my own mind. Now, the second aspect of that, right, is that it's impossible to do anything noteworthy alone, is support. And that was really evident during this first ultra marathon that I did. It was 46 miles in hot, humid Florida in August, and I did not train for it. I got a call on Tuesday asking if I wanted to do it on Saturday. I showed up. The longest I'd run up until that point was that half marathon Spartan 9 months prior. So we're talking 33 miles more than I'd ever run. And so I'm just relying on brute athleticism here. Mushrooms and a little mantra that I had come to me at the start of the day. How do you eat an elephant? There it is. Okay, cool. That was my mantra for the day. And that stuck with me as I passed the half marathon mark and have my new PR. As I passed the marathon mark and I'm still feeling good. And then at mile 31, when I get a strain in my calf, and I question if I want to continue, I crawled, and I'm talking crawled, to the aid station at mile 33, and was planning on quitting. Again, I'm dumping fluids, it's 90 degrees, 90% humidity. I feel worse than I felt in my entire life. But a freaking NASCAR pit crew goes to work on me. One of the people at the aid station dumps an ice bucket on me, another's massaging my calves. One of my buddies shows up with a change of shoes, swaps me out, and just like that, I'm back to taking bites of elephant. And, I'm not bragging here. The last 13 miles took me 4.5 hours. We were crawling, but there was determination, and that allowed me, again, to rewrite what I'm capable of. Which brings me to the third point, is that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. My water bottle, babe. Use the tray.
You can have mine.
Thank you.
He gets the unicorn water bottle. That's not actually his, that's mine. His is a phone stand over there right now.
Thank you for your patience. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Try saying that 5 times fast. I have. It's terrible. So, a year passes between that first ultra marathon, and this is August of 2024, and the next one that I take on. And within that time, I'm just trying to find different ways to challenge myself. And so we're not really paying attention to running. I'm doing strongman competitions, I'm doing Spartans, and I had something in my mind where I wanted to do something in 2025 that blew my own mind, something that seemed astronomical that I never would have dreamed that I'd been able to do prior. And there was a race in Tampa Bay, where we live, called the Tampa Bay 100. And I wanted to make sure that I completed that. I thought that the Pinellas Trail Challenge, that 46-miler a second time, would be a great warm-up. And it would prove that I'm ready to take on 100 miles. What it proved is that I'm a dumbass. Because again, I didn't train properly for this. And so, as I'm struggling, as I'm going through the same thing that I went through the year before, getting passed left and right by grandmas, all that integration time is giving me time to think about this and time to recognize what I'm actually trying to do here. And that's that I'm trying to run 100 miles 2 months from now, when I haven't even done that in a month yet. Not smart. But it gives me time to think and reflect, and I realize a lesson that I should have learned much earlier in life. Again, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Is that Sharon, 65-year-old Sharon, who was passing me that day, wasn't more talented than me, more gifted than me. Just like the kids in grade school who went on to be professional baseball players weren't better than me. But I had a memory of my high school athletic nemesis, Mark, running next to my house when I was a kid. And as I see this kid chugging down the street, looking like an absolute tank, and me, in my freshman year of college, 5'8", 130 pounds, in college to drink more than anything, I just told myself, that guy is a natural-born athlete. He has it, I don't. He was given the gifts. And that's what I saw. I saw the gifts. But what I should have seen was the work that he put in from a very young age. I should have seen how I was on the couch eating Elio's pizzas and drinking vanilla Cokes and catching every Pokemon when he was working his ass off. He may have had natural gifts, but nobody who was at that second ultra that I did had more gifts than I did. But they had all worked way harder than I did to be there that day. And so, as I struggled to another finish, I recognized that when the time came for the Tampa Bay 100 in 2 months, I didn't want to just finish. I wanted it to be something that I was proud of crossing that finish line. Anyone else here in the ultra running community? Okay.
What did you say?
In the ultra running community. Okay, beautiful. Gold standard time for 24-hour or a 100-miler. I gave you the answer, I'm sorry. And if you ask most people in the ultra running community, they'll tell you that 24 hours is kind of the gold standard for 100-mile races. It shows that you're serious about this. It's not something that you're just showing up and struggling through. You're actually putting in the work to do it. And so that's what I wanted to make my goal for this race, is to finish in under 24 hours. And so the week after the Pinellas Trail Challenge, after I'm feeling really defeated, having struggled through this a second time, I recognized that this is an opportunity to use this feeling of defeat as a jumping point. And so I write in my journal a quote from Benjamin Franklin: "Early to bed, early to rise, makes a man
Healthy, wealthy, and wise."
beautiful. Still waiting on the second one, but when I woke up, when the alarm went off at 4:30 the next morning, I knew John rose out of bed. One who was determined to make sure that he didn't crawl to that finish line. And so that brings me to the fourth point. By changing ourselves, we can change the world. And I know that sounds a little crazy, but stick with me. On that morning of November 8th, the start of the 10 Day 100, I knew that the day was going to be incredible. I had the belief that I could. I had put in the work. I had amazing support. 2 friends ran a total of 40 miles with me that day. My wonderful wife, say hi baby Ting, biked alongside me for 70 miles, and my 72-year-old father followed along in the car, which was really special. I know everybody here has a perfect relationship with their parents, right? Just checking. When I was a kid, that obviously wasn't the case, or I wouldn't be talking about this. My dad was a tyrant. He was an alcohol-fueled dick. And we had a very tough relationship. As I grew older, there were periods where I wouldn't talk to him, but mostly we were just drinking buddies. When I found mushrooms, that all started to change. I started to look at myself differently, understand the way that I've been acting, and it allowed me to see him differently. To recognize that he was so much better than he had given the world the opportunity to see. But he just had to be given the chance to be better. And so rather than seeing that alcohol-fueled tyrant, I saw myself. I saw the same lack of self-esteem that kept me in addiction, the same way that he used anger as a defense mechanism, the same drinking when he was alone, just because. Which meant so much to me when he was with me at the finish line at 4 a.m. when I finished in 23 hours, 6th overall. Thank you guys. 6th overall and first out of every first-time 100-miler during that race. But that was nothing in comparison to what happened the next day, or actually the same day. Because that same day, I went to speak at a psychedelics convention in St. Petersburg, where we live. Canadelic, if anyone's ever been. And it wasn't speaking there, but it's what happened on the car ride to that. When I confronted my dad about his drinking. He had told me a 1.5 years prior that he was stopping, that he was giving it up, that I convinced him to be better. But I knew through our conversations, through his avoidance on the topic, that it was something that I couldn't trust. And so I asked him on the way to that. And he said to me, "John, you're right. I have been. I'm sorry you're right. But after seeing what you've been able to achieve in these past 2 years in your sobriety, in these past 24 hours, I don't think there's any way that I can go back to drinking." I'd heard that before. I wished for that time and time and time and time and time again. But this time, it was real. It's been 5 months since he had a drink. And again, this isn't about me, right? This is about all of us. This is what psychedelics can do for all of us. But if I can be a testament to the power of it, to be somebody who was wasting his life in so many facets, up until just a very short while ago. And in that time, I found the strength to create a beautiful life, to do incredible things, and to heal the people around me. What can psychedelics allow us all to do? Again, what is your 100-miler? I want to leave that with you guys today. And so when you go home and you think about it, when you find out what your 100-miler is, take that first step. Let's change the world together.